chat about it.
What the fastest?
Make we chat about it.
Or on left?
Make we chat about it.
Check and feel at the topic.
Oh, make we chat about it.
Latest
Make we
news.
chat about it.
All your
Make we
views.
chat about it.
Track and feel chat for set with the girl HP.
Hello, 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 hello. It is another Thursday. Yes, it is another Thursday. It is Thursday already. We were just here last week, Thursday, and I am back here tonight. And of course, you know that my favorite part of this program is talking to the athletes. And of course, we have another of Jamaica's outstanding track and field gem in the background waiting to come forward. So I just want to say welcome each and everyone. Welcome wherever you are in the world. I know that a lot of you would have been watching the World Under 20 Junior Championships, which is now going on in Lima, Peru. And of course, last evening, the Jamaican women again took the gold medal in the 100 meters. And we've been doing this consistently since 2018, staging with Brianna Williams, then Tina Clayton again. And of course, the outstanding Heidel, outstanding champs girl, Alana Reed, took gold last night. So congrats to her for keeping the gold medal in Jamaica. And of course, our future is looking bright. So welcome wherever you're coming from, whichever continent, whether it's Africa, Europe, Asia, Antarctica, Oceanic, South America, North America. I hope I got all seven. Welcome to HP Chat Track. And of course, I am your girl, HP. And before I introduce my guest, I just want to say to you guys, please to subscribe and share the content, because we want the world to know about our athletes, the athletes who have done it, who have created this remarkable and rich Jamaica track and field legacy that we can reminisce and talk about and continue to build on. So I am now going to introduce my guest. I'm not going to tell you her name. I want to see who will be the first person to tell me who this Olympian is. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, Debbie Byfield. Welcome, Debbie. How are you? I don't know about you, but I am very excited to have you here tonight. Welcome.
I am glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, with that said, well, guys, you see her name and you've heard me say it. This is Olympian Debbie Byfield, now Debbie Byfield Russell. And of course, she is also, but we're not going to get into that too early, she is also the mother of an outstanding American sprinter. And I don't want you guys to Google. it. I want you to put in the comment section whose mother she is, who is her child. Of course, an outstanding sprinter. But we're going to get into Debbie's story now. Deborah Byfield Russell. Deborah, not Deborah, Deborah.
No,
my
Deborah.
apologies. Welcome, Debbie Byfield. Welcome.
Thank you.
Just to break the ice, tell me a little bit about you as a little girl, where you were born, which parish you used to run up and down barefooted. Tell me a little bit about that before we get to high school. Already Miss Ruth put the name of your child in the chat. But of course, we will get to that. Welcome, Olympian Ruth William Simpson, and Olympian herself. Welcome. Go ahead, Debbie. Tell us a little bit about that little girl.
Okay. I was born in Kingston, in Jonestown, and we moved several places in Kingston. I lived in Kingston. I lived in Jonestown. I lived in Trenchtown. I live in Raytown.
What?
Yes. yes, yes, yes. I'm coming from all the, but there's another story behind, why we lived where we live. But that's if you're interested, I can tell you real quickly what happened.
Yes, man. I would love
Yeah,
to hear a little bit about those different towns. Trench
yeah,
town, Ray town.
yeah. My father was a trade unionist, and his job before, and this is before independence, he unionized a lot of industries in Jamaica, from the bauxite industry, banana industry. So he was blacklisted by the British government for a long time. He couldn't work anywhere because everywhere he went, he unionized it. So he couldn't get a job. So we had to live where we had to live. Because, and it was a lot of us. My mother, there are 9 of us, nine children, 9 Ds that my mother had. Of course, my father had some children too, but it was a lot of us. So
Wow.
yeah.
A netball team.
more than a netball team. Yeah, it's 6 girls and 3 boys. My mother had.
Wow. Wow. You so you would be, I would call you a real Kingstonian. You are a real
Yeah, I've
Kingstonian
never lived anywhere else in Jamaica but Kingston. Yeah.
because all those communities that you talk about, the names that you call
Hmm.
Trenchtown,
Jonestown,
Raytown, and
Raytown.
Jonestown, they're
Hmm.
all in Kingston, not St. Andrew, but in the
Actually,
heart.
no, St. Jonestown is considered St. Andrew, but
Okay. Oh, so that's a little closer above Crossroad kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. But I left there when I was probably around 4 or 5 years old. Yeah,
Wow.
but I remember
You
it.
you in the heart of Kingston, a new chapter in your, where did you go to primary school?
I went to the first primary school I went to was Maxfield Park Primary School.
Okay.
And then from there, I went to, you probably wonder how I got there. I went to White Marl Primary School. And I'm not sure if anybody knows where
So how
White
you
Marl.
ended up at White Marl that's supposed to be in St. Catherine?
Right. The headmistress, Mrs. Campbell, Mrs. Daisy Campbell, was a very good friend or distant cousin of my father. And he didn't want me to go to school in Kingston. So every morning I would go to her house and she would take me to school along with my younger sister. So we traveled with her every morning. She brought us back every evening. That's when we lived in Raytown because her husband worked for the prison system and they had a house directly across from the prison on Tower Street. It was a prison, what we call a prison house, So we lived in Raytown, so I would walk around to Tower Street from where I lived on Fisher's Row and meet with her. She'd take me to school, bring me back in the evening.
Wow.
So
From Kingston to St.
uh,
Catherine. I think White
and
Marl is on that stretch of road going to Ferry after you leave
after you pass
Ferry.
Perry, if the best way to know where it is if you know where the Arawak Museum is in Jamaica. It's just if you come off the city and you go up the hill, you pass the museum and go up the hill, and it's at the top of a hill. Yeah,
Wow. Interesting. Let us fast forward a little bit now. A new chapter in your life back in Kingston, Excelsior High
yeah.
School. Tell me a little bit about your journey at Excelsior High School. How did Excelsior happen?
Well, I'll tell you real quick how I got started running. When I was at Maxfield Park Primary School, you know how you had student teachers that came throughout the year, but because the regular teachers didn't have anything to do with any kind of physical education, we only did that when the student teachers were there. And she lined up the entire class, boys and girls, against the wall. I'll never forget that. And she said, on your mark, when she says, go, we took off running. And I took off running, but I couldn't hear anybody else behind me. I'm just running. And then I thought, oh no, I'm the only one running. When I turned around and looked, everybody was running, but I had just taken off so fast. And that's when, she called me, she says, oh my God, you can run. Did you know you can run? I said, no. She says, you can run. I said, okay. And then when I went to White Marl, the headmistress, Mrs. Campbell, she knew about track because I don't know if Vilma is Vilma on?
Vilma, no, I haven't seen Vilma as yet. But
Vilma boarded with, yeah.
before we go any further, another Olympian is there. Yvonne Saunders is there, and this is what she said. She said, "Hello, HP and friends. Greetings to you, Debbie from Yvonne Saunders. Of course, her married name I have a problem pronouncing." And she said, "It's been a while."
And it's been 52 years.
What? She
Yes.
was a part of that 1972.
Yes, yeah.
And we're going to talk about that. Let's
Okay.
get back to White Marl and
Yeah.
running.
So Mrs. Campbell was familiar with track and field, and my father told her that I could run because I went home and told him that the teacher said I could run. So Miss Vilma boarded with Mrs. Campbell. Why, that's how so I've known Vilma since I was a little girl. And so Mrs. Campbell got me involved in track and field. And from there, I went to Excelsior. And
Wow.
that's, Mr. Powell was happy to have me and gave me a space.
So Miss Vilma was like Vilma Charlton. We're talking about Vilma Charlton, guys. Of course, another outstanding Olympian and giving back to track and field. So she was like a big sister to you.
Well, I didn't see her very often, even though I spent a lot of time at Mrs. Campbell's house because she was already she was going to school in the States.
Okay.
So usually I saw her during holidays and stuff like that. Yeah. So, so when I started running, though, she was the first person I knew on the track team, and I knew, that ran. I didn't know anybody else that ran before that.
You competed at Champs in an era when Champs was an event by itself. Now it is merged. You have boys and girls Champs together. What was Champs like in the 70s for you as just girls Champs?
Well, to let your audience know that when I ran at Champs, they didn't have a rubberized track yet. We ran on what they call a cinder track. It's like dirt, a kind of sandy dirt thing.
As in at the stadium?
Right.
The stadium was dirt before?
Absolutely.
Wow, I never know that.
Yeah. So as a matter of fact, they didn't get a rubberized track until I left Jamaica. I came back and saw a rubberized track.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I when I started at Excelsior, the PE teacher, Miss Robertson, yes, Miss Robertson, she's since passed. Very, very lovely lady. Was very strict with me, and because of her, I really started taking it seriously and training kind of hard. Yeah. And I got my first, because when I ran before, I ran little meets when I was at White Marl, I always ran barefooted.
Barefooted?
Yeah. So she got, Bell, not Bell, oh God, I can't remember his name. He brought me my very first pair of Adidas track shoes. And I cried living eye water because I told her, no, I can't wear those. It's going to make me run slower. So she had to beg me to wear those shoes. And of course, I didn't know any better. I ran faster with them on.
Barefoot girl.
Mhm.
But that's what we know. That's what we know as children,
Yes.
especially in those days. Even my time in the 80s, 70s, 80s, a barefoot were on.
Yeah, you took your shoes. You dare not run in your shoes and mash up your shoes. So if you're gonna play and run, you're gonna take your shoes off.
I'm still at that place where you said the stadium before the stadium got what they call a chevron track now. It was actually like dirt. I'm trying to
It was
picture
called it was a cinder track.
A cinder.
And cinder it's a very hard dirt mixture. I think that it even felt like sand was in there, and that's when you wore those very long spikes.
Mhm.
You had to put in your spikes in and the thing about it too, I was coming, Excelsior had and still does have a dirt track. So I was
Mm-hmm.
accustomed to running on dirt.
Wow. When you competed at Girls Champs in the 70s, Champs was a battle between Very Technical and the Manning School. How did Excelsior break down those two powerhouses to win Girls Champs 1970, 1971, 1972, and 1973?
Yeah, the
Back
year.
to back to back. What was the secret?
I just think we had a lot of bodies. A lot of people, especially because we were so close to the stadium, we had a lot of people that came out for the team. The team was fairly big back in those days, so we had enough bodies, and that's what you need. It's like on the men's side, Kingston College, a lot of people come out for the track team. They have a huge track team, and they say 1-1 Cocoa Field basket. Every little 1-1 point, gave us a championship.
Wow. Um, I when I look at the data, because of course I do my research, and when I look at it, it was Mannings and Veer, and then I just saw where Excelsior just moving, and it was back to back to back, and you were a part of the 1972 winning team. You would have been a part of the 1971 team
Yeah, the
also.
only one, three, because I left school in 72, so I wasn't a part of 73, of course. But so the
Oh.
first three, yeah, I was a part of that. It was,
And that those championships were led by you and company. But before we go any further, let us just say hi to a lot of people running in. Welcome Facebook, welcome YouTube. Of course, Patricia Hall, who is another Jamaican athlete, she's saying hi. Miss Ruth gave the name of your daughter. I'm not going to say it because I want people to do their research. Miss Ruth is saying, Ruth Williams Simpson, Olympian, she's saying the stadium track was made of cinder, which was what you said.
mhm.
Keisha Richards is saying, hi, HP, learning a lot. Marlene Green is saying, good evening, all. Greetings, Debbie. Interesting conversation so far. Guess who is there? Lilith Hodges
Oh,
is all.
we battled a little bit in class one.
Yes, yes, and we're going to talk about that with you and Lilith Hodges. She's also there, and of course, Yvonne is there. Yvonne, and another Olympian. Oh my God, the Olympians are rolling out. Dorothy Scott, genius,
hmm
another Olympian, formerly a very technical from Trelawney.
hmm
She is also there saying, "Nice seeing you, Debbie." So let me ask you something now, Debbie. These people haven't seen you in years.
Some, definitely, probably the longest. The person there that I haven't seen the longest would be Yvonne Saunders, but I'm sure I've not seen her since she left Munich in 1972. Yeah,
Wow, how many years is that? That's about what, 52 years?
2 years. Yes, yes.
Wow, wow. Keisha Richards is saying, didn't know Excelsior was a powerhouse back then.
Back in the
Yes,
day.
yes,
Yes,
Keisha. Yes, yes, yes.
yes.
Excelsior was actually a powerhouse in, and they still are because they are
They're
doing
coming back.
yes,
They're
they
making
are
a
coming back.
Yes, yes,
They're
they're
coming
definitely
back.
making a comeback. And thanks to the Dash program, it's a group of alumni that
Yes. And we're
decide.
going to get to
Yeah.
that. Hold
Okay.
that thought. Anthony Henry is also saying good night and big up HP chat track. Thank you guys for rolling out. Now back to Debbie and breaking down. Now, anybody who can get in and break down Veer Technical's dominance,
hmm
it is a big deal.
I didn't even know that at the time.
Yes.
I had no idea.
Mhm.
You just get out there and run and hope to win and, hope to score points, but I didn't realize that before that what a powerhouse Veer was. Yes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think they came back after a while.
Yes,
Yeah.
Veer actually is the winningest girls' champ school with 21 titles. Nobody is close. And
Mm-mm.
they had a long stint of winning of 15 straight. No other
Mm.
school, yes, no other school has accomplished that. But of course, they are not so dominant in the 21st century they are. So I hope they try to bring their program back. But let's go back to what they call up there, so Nannyville,
Mm, where
where
Excelsior is?
Excelsior is.
I've never called it that.
Mountain View, Mountain View. All right, let's call it a Mountain
It's
View.
called
But
Antrim. It's called Antrim.
Antrim,
That
okay.
where the Excelsior is Antrim. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Hmm.
okay. Debbie, at age 18, you made the Jamaica Olympic team 1972 to of course Munich, Germany. Can you remember your emotions when you realized that you've made the Olympic team as a teenager?
I no, I don't. I it just never seemed like a big deal to me, and I was not the youngest person on the team at that time either. Um, um, Lilith probably we were probably around the same age, but Andrea
Mm.
Bruce was younger than me because
Yeah.
she was part of the winning '73 Excelsior team. So she was and she became she's the youngest person to ever make this finals in a high jump at the Olympics. So yeah,
Yeah.
that to me that was a big deal. That was more a
It
big
it
deal
it
than
it
yeah,
was because
yeah,
one of the youngest that we've had making an Olympic team is Jackie Pusey at age 16.
right,
Right, Jackie was
yeah.
16 when she made the team. How back in those days, like now they have a lot of track meets going on, and the
Hmm.
athletes while training they are competing throughout the season, getting themselves ready. How were you able to prepare yourself for the Olympic Games in the 70s?
After champs, where I would train with the Excelsior team at Excelsior, except for sometimes when because I've made other teams prior to the Olympic team. So my very first trip was at 14 to Cuba. So there are periods where I actually trained at the stadium, but most of my training leading up to champs was at the school. And it was easy because we were right down the street. I would just walk up in the evening to training there. You know something? I don't even remember exactly who was my main. I know Herb McKinley was there and Al Phillips, and that's the two names that I remember very well. It's been so long, but for some reason, it didn't. You know, it really didn't strike me until afterwards how important it was to actually make an Olympic team. You know, and I'll tell you a quick story about that. When we made the Olympic team, we weren't. I remember distinctly that we couldn't miss training, and I was training at the stadium, and I was getting ready for graduation, and graduation was at the arena. So I went to training, and then came off the track and put my cap and gown over my running clothes and went to the graduation. Well, they were collecting the cap and gown that same evening. So here I am in the middle of the graduation ceremony afterwards in my shorts, my workout shorts and top. But, you know, that's when I really started to realize that, you know, this is a big deal. You know, it's a big deal.
You know, I love these stories. I love to listen to you guys tell your stories because they're so authentic. You know, I mean, something like that, running from the track to put on your gown to go and
Let's
graduate
walk across the parking lot to the arena and
over to the arena.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
and
Wow. These
graduate.
stories just keep getting better and better. When I think that I've had the best one, they just keep getting better and
I
better.
didn't realize they were gonna collect the cap and gown the same day, same night. You know, so after we were finished, after the ceremony was over, they're like the line, everybody bring your cap and gown. I'm like, oh my god, I have on shorts underneath this.
So while all the other young ladies have on their heels and their dress, you were coming from
Yeah,
a workout
I
because
work out.
you
Yeah.
were going to represent the country
Mm-hmm.
at the Olympic Games.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Awesome. 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 From Jamaica to Germany. Germany. Can you remember anything about the culture back then? How different it was from home? You leaving home as a teenager in this country. Can you remember
First,
any?
yeah, first the beginning, what I remember the most is how long it took to get there. I swore the sun went up twice and came down twice. That's how long it was. Just the longest flight. And we went to Frankfurt and that's where we stayed for a while to kind of climatize, and we trained while we were there. And we didn't get to really see the culture until we got to the Olympic Village in Munich. There are a couple of little things that stand out in my mind. I remember we went on the public transportation one day, and everybody moved away from us and went up to they wanted.
I wonder why. Why?
I don't know.
You know why, Debbie?
Of course. Because then we went. I remember another time. I don't remember if Ruth was there at that time. We went to a greeting store in Bonn. I'll never forget that. And we picked a greeting card, and the man came and grabbed it and told us to get out. That was, that's going to be like my first experience with that kind of stuff. So it kind of stuck in my mind.
Racism.
Yeah. And I remember also I remember one day we came out the stadium and a little boy came and rubbed my arm.
Why?
I don't know if anybody else, because he thought that he had never seen anybody that looked like me. So he thought it was something that could come off. So he was like, so yeah.
Wow.
So we experienced. At least, I don't know how many people experienced that.
Yvonne spoke about it last week. Racism. Yeah, she spoke about it also.
Yeah.
Experiencing it firsthand.
But other than that, it was a great experience. Most people were friendly and nice. We even received from, I'm sure that Ruth would remember that, and Carol and Yvonne, we received this. I remember because I have a photograph of us a town in Germany sent us all these gowns, these dresses, these blue plaid dresses. I don't know if Ruth remember that. And because I have a group photo of us in those dresses. So everybody, 90% of it was wonderful, but except for, the big incident that happened. But as far as
which we're going to talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
When you took the track in Germany for Jamaica, what was the feeling like? I've heard people have different feelings or emotions when it comes on to competing at the Olympic Games. What kind of emotions were you feeling? Or you were just, it's another place to compete?
No, but by that time I sensed what it was going to be like, and I remember feeling numb. And how when you're in the stand, you hear all this noise. Well, when you get down on the track and you get ready, I didn't hear anything. I don't hear any noise, any sound. It's almost like an outer body experience, because that's the first time I'm going to run in a stadium of that magnitude with that crowd. So, it was numbing. It was,
Wow. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I love to talk about this part. I love to tell athletes about their achievement, because a lot of times I don't think you guys pay attention to what you have achieved. And you're a graduate of California State University, an Olympian. You've competed for Jamaica at the Olympic Games, at the Commonwealth Games, at the Pan American Games, at the CAC Games. You're a two-time silver medalist at the 1972 Carifta Games. Now listen to this. You won silver in the 100 meters behind Lilith Hodges.
I don't even remember that.
You didn't remember that? You and Lilith won a quinella for Jamaica. Lilith won gold and you won silver. Listen to this now. You won a silver medal in the 200 meters at that same Carifta Games, this time ahead of Jamaica's Regina Montague, formerly of Titchfield High School.
Really?
You must know who
I
Regina
know.
Montague.
I know who Regina is.
Yes,
I just don't
yeah.
remember. I don't remember that part of it. Who won and who
You
got
were
the.
second. You won the silver medal, and she won the bronze medal.
Really? I
Yes,
don't
ma'am.
remember that
I can
at all.
send you the information.
No, I believe you.
And you see, this is why I love to do the research because I
Mhm.
find things and I know that when I put it to you guys, you're going to be like, did I do that?
I
Well, yes, you
It's
did.
like when I was at the award ceremony where I first met you a few months ago,
Mhm.
and I didn't realize that I was one of the few athletes who ran in all those events: Commonwealth Games, Olympic Games, Pan Am Games.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
didn't realize until he was saying that at
Hmm.
the MC was saying. I'm like, I looked at him. I'm like, really?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, you have. You're a founding member of the Jamaica Olympian Association, the California chapter, if I
No, no,
can
no, no,
say.
no, 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 no.
No?
Let me correct it. The Jamaican Association, period, in the San Francisco Bay Area. Yeah, it didn't have anything at all to do with track and field. Yeah,
Oh, it didn't.
no.
Okay, because
It was just a social organization, and we did charities for Jamaica, like after Hurricane Gilbert, and
okay, the
yeah,
person who wrote the article, that
uh-huh,
was what, yeah, that was what they
yeah.
said. That's what it
Actually,
was.
that's the second time I heard that, and I did correct it the first time. It didn't have
Yeah.
anything to do with. It's just charity.
Okay. Okay. Are you a board member of the Excelsior alumni?
I resigned
Oh,
just
you did. So
after
you
almost
were okay. It's
20
like,
years because I almost said I migrated. I returned. I'm a returnee. I'm a returning resident to Jamaica. So
okay,
I resigned. Yes,
okay,
but
okay.
we did quite a bit of charity work there for the school and for anybody else outside who was associated with Excelsior. If they had some kind of hardship or needed something, we were
Hmm.
there to provide it. Yeah.
This your combination in track and field. The only other person I have seen done anything like this is Mr. Herb McKinley. You run the 100 and you run the 400. Who does
One,
that?
1, 2, 4. um,
Only Mr. Herb McKinley I've seen with that combination. How did
and
that happen?
well, for one thing, when we ran champs, girls didn't run the 400 meter at that time. That was not. I don't think it was. When I went to the United States, and I moved to California and started, Una Morris was instrumental in finding me a coach in California. And when I started training with him, he said, "I think you'd make a good quarter miler." And I'm like, "That's too long. That is just too long." And I tried it, and I ended up doing very well at it. Yeah. So
Too much work, right? The workload is hard, I hear.
it's hard. The work is harder. Plus, just sprinting all the way around the track is a lot. But
Yes,
yeah,
I believe you. Your
yeah.
legacy, would you do it all over again like this?
I would do it all over again, but I wouldn't do it the way I did it. I would work harder.
Harder. Hold that
Yeah.
thought. Let's go back to Germany a little bit. The
Hmm.
1972 Olympic Games, drama unfolds, terrorists
Hmm.
broke in the village, athletes were killed, unfortunately, coach. Can you recall any of those memories?
Yeah, I actually, unfortunately, that's the thing that I remember the most about the Olympic Games is the disruption, you know, of the terrorists coming in the village, and and we were. This was so hard for me because, yeah, it affected me a lot because I knew exactly what was going on, and I used to go because they were there for a few days, and so I would go training, have my eat, and then I would go back to where the journalist area was. All I would do that every day because I wanted to know what was going on and why it was going on. And being from a political family, I had a sense of what had been going on in the Middle East at that time. I wasn't ignorant of that at all because my parents were very up on everything in politics and world views. So, you know, I, it wasn't scary. I didn't feel scared or anything like that. You know, I don't think because they weren't there to do anything to anybody else, but who the people they came for. But I think I was telling you, one of the things that got stuck in my mind. I used to look through the lens of the photographers that were there because they had these huge camera lens, and I would look at the face of he was like, I guess the leader. He would always come out on the balcony of the room, and I would look at his face all the time. And I was trying to understand, why would anybody leave their house, leave their country to go specifically to die? Because they came to die. They came to do what they needed to do at any risk. They knew the risk they were taking. And I remember looking in his eyes and I'm saying, that's the eyes of somebody who know the possibility that they're going to die. And I couldn't, as an 18-year-old, I just couldn't understand, why would anybody do that? Why, you know? And I will always remember his face. Because I looked at his face every time he stepped out on the balcony. I looked at his face. And it stayed with me. It really stayed with me.
Wow. So after that experience, how were you guys able to regroup? Before we go any further, Daniel England is saying greetings, and he said a question for Deborah. He's asking, did Coach Herb McKinley speak to the team daily?
Daily?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we saw them every day. We saw the coaches every day. I mean, you know, but when he says speak, he means like
motivation, motivating you guys, encouraging.
Not really. Not really. No.
Not really.
No.
All right, going back to. All right, go ahead. What's your thought?
You know, we went to training every day while we were in Frankfurt, and then when we got to Munich, we trained, and the coaches were there and told you what to do, and you did it. You know.
All right, let's go back to this a little bit. After that experience, and you said you saw the terrorist, you look at his face and that image is in your head. How did you and the Jamaican team regroup to continue the job that you were there to do at the Olympic Games?
You just did it. I don't remember us going through, at least let me speak for myself. I don't remember going through any emotional hardship trying to regroup and get back. You just did what you needed to do. I think because we felt a little bit removed from the situation, it wasn't us, so we didn't think about it. Once we found out that so many people had died, of course, we're human, so we feel bad about it. But I think we felt kind of also removed from it. It's like it's happening to those people kind of situation, And I knew at the time that the problem between Israel and the Palestinian was an old problem, a long going, and it's even longer now. So I was 52 years ago, and here we are, We're going, it's still ongoing. So we didn't.
Former, tell me a little bit about this. Former Prime Minister Michael Manley, he was a prime minister at the time, and he was trying to get the Jamaican team out of Germany and out of all of what was going on. What do you remember about that?
What I remember is it. The reason why he was involved was not because of, and that was what happened. What he was trying to get us out is because of the South African team not wanting to bring the black athletes and the white athletes to the Olympic together, and so my memory serves me right. There was a point where, in protest, he wanted us to come back to Jamaica. And we thought we were getting ready, packing up to come back. And then they said, no. And I remember it happened twice where they said, oh, you guys have to come home, because they were negotiating. And Michael Mann was very much involved in that negotiation. I'm so proud of him. And, and eventually the South African athletes, black athletes, were allowed to come to the Olympics. And we saw them. We used to talk to them, as a matter of fact, because I remember this one incident where the nightclub in the village, the Olympic Village, they were standing out by the door, like looking in, and I'm like, it was me. I'm trying to think who it was. It might I don't want to call a name that is but they were trying to encourage them to come into the club. Yeah, we were standing, come in, and they kept saying, no, they can't come in because the white athletes were in there. I guess if the white athletes leave, then they could come in,
Wow.
So, yeah, I remember that part. I remember. Definitely.
Wow. Wow. Before we go any further, Heather Pusey, I'm sure you know that name. Heather Pusey, she says, hi, Debbie. So good to see you. That's Jackie's sister.
Yeah.
Jackie Pusey's sister. She's saying hi. Anthony Henry saying he's enjoying the interview. Thank you very much. Patricia Hall, who will be on the show next week, of course, another Jamaican athlete. She's saying, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine it felt like experiencing terrorism during a track meet. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. And I would love to hear the back. She said she would love to hear the backstory, of course. And Marlene Green is saying, very informative interview on this 1972 Olympic Games. Indeed, it is very, very informative. But that must have been scary for you guys, though, knowing that this was happening, even though you weren't directly impacted, but the entire games would have been impacted.
Yeah, well, security got tighter after it happened, because if I remember well, and I don't know if Ruth or Carol or anybody else remember, but I remember that we found out in the after they came into the village, that they actually came over the fence closest to where we were staying, and they came in the wee hours of the morning. And I remember thinking to myself, because we used, as I don't know if everybody knows it, but back in the day, there was a separation between the women and the men quarters, and the men couldn't come to our area, but we could go. So we would go over there and hang out and play and do stuff. And then we would come back in the wee hours, and I'm like, my God, what if I was coming back when they were coming over the fence? But apparently they came over the fence like in the wee hours of the morning, 3, somewhere about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and passed and went down to where the Israeli men were staying.
If it was so secluded, though, how were they able to get in? But I'm sure that's a question for another time. But
when I think back and I remember it, there were no guards at the fences. Only the security gate had guards. But after the incident happened, they had guards outside the fence where the dorms where there were like little apartments were. But before that, you just had a badge to come in through the main gate and to get into the Olympic Village, you know. But
Wow.
I I think that probably changed the security at Olympics, all Olympics after that, you know, because who who knew that something like that would happen or could happen, you know.
Yeah, nobody was thinking, not at the Olympic Games. Yep. Wow.
Yeah.
Debbie, Debbie, you think we should tell them, guys, before we go any further, of course, we're here listening to the story of Debbie Byfield Russell. Debbie Byfield Russell, of course. And a very eye-opening, interesting interview. Of course, we were talking about you know, the 1972 games and the drama, terrorism, and all those things, talking about racism. Look who is on the live. Jackie Pusey. Well, hello, Miss Pusey. Hello. She's saying hi, Debbie.
Hi, Jackie. Woo,
Jackie
long
is
time.
wow, what a reunion we're having tonight. I love it. I love it. I love it. Of course, every little girl my age would have known the name Jackie Pusey because that was one of the names that I grew up on and I wanted to be like her and Merlene because in the 80s I kept hearing Jackie Pusey and Merlene Otti Page. So so Jackie, welcome. Another Olympian, another star Olympian. Jackie Pusey is here hanging out with us. You think we should tell them whose mother you are? No, let us leave it a little bit. Let us leave it a little bit. But you retired in 1980.
Mm-hmm.
How or when did you know that it was time to retire from competition?
That's a kind of interesting story. And this started from when I was very young, especially when I was at Excelsior, when I found out that track and field could keep me from going home. That's when I was most interested in running. So I ran. I loved staying at school late because I didn't want to go home. And at Excelsior, I don't know about other campuses, but at Excelsior, if you didn't have an activity after school, you can't stay on the campus. So I was glad to be a track athlete because then you train and stay late. And I'll tell you this little story that I don't think a lot of people, even my friends, know. When track was over, then you had to find some other reason to be on campus. So I decided I want to join the band. And so because I was late getting to the band, all the instruments were taken except for one, the tuba.
What is that now?
The tuba is the biggest instrument. It's huge, and you have to blow it hard. And I don't
anything to stay on campus.
Anything to stay from going home.
Wow.
So when I, got a little bit older and started running and traveling, that was really exciting. And but my parents were very strict and stuff. So I pretty much had to be at home if I'm not doing anything to do with track and field. So fast forward, by the time I got to the United States, I had this freedom to come and go and do as I please and not listen to all the arguments and all that was going at home. And I just said, I don't need track and field anymore. I just lost interest because it served its purpose.
There was no motivation anymore.
Yes. No motivation. It served its purpose for me, and I just wanted to.
But you were doing so well at it.
And that's another thing too. And when I look back on my career, I didn't run as well as I could have because I don't know. I just ran because I could. The talent was
There
there.
was no real interest.
No, that I didn't have, and so
Wow.
I wouldn't train hard enough to to accomplish certain things, and so that was one reason why I retired, because I knew I didn't feel like doing training anymore. I was, you know, I I didn't like. I like the traveling. I like going places, getting on a plane and going to a different country here and there. But I didn't
That
have the
alone
fire.
would that
Yeah,
alone would make me want to stay in the
yeah.
sport, the traveling.
And it did motivate me to to make the team. But after I didn't need that anymore, I didn't. I just had no interest at all.
After you retired, you went straight into the classroom, California State University.
Actually, I did not go straight to the classroom. I went to work. I had to work. I went to work, and there was a time that I was still running. So I'd go to. That's another thing too, is that I worked from 8 to 4, and I would come home, change, train, and I would come home for trials for whatever meet was going on. And I didn't want to do that anymore. It's just, I envy a lot of these athletes today that even though that they get to train and just train
All
and
they do is just
don't,
train. They don't have
yeah.
to do a nine
But
to five.
yeah, I don't want to say it's so trivial that it's easy what they do, even though they don't have some of them don't have to get up and go to 9 to 5.
That's true.
Yeah, because it's they don't just train once a day. They have to go. They get out there several times a day. So it's not easy, and at the level that they're running, it's not easy at all. I'm so proud of them, though. Just so very proud of what they've accomplished, you know, and also helping to put Jamaica on the map, keep Jamaica on the map, because
Indeed.
the from Jamaica's been on the map as a track and field powerhouse from in the 40s, but
Yeah. Hmm.
and then through and in between we had Donald Quarry, we had Marilyn Newville, we had who else was there? There were quite a few people there that were outstanding, but so I'm just so proud of them. Maybe I'd be more motivated if when I was running you could actually make some money and
Yeah. Hmm.
but I lacked the motivation. I really really did, and I went to work. Plus
You're Go ahead. Go ahead.
I had to take care of myself, so I had to go to work.
Indeed.
Yeah.
You're giving back to the sport now. What or you have been giving back to the sport. What are
hmm
some of the projects that you've worked on, or if you're working on anything now?
Right now, I'm not working on anything since I moved back to Jamaica. But while I was in Florida, the alumni association there, we gave a lot of money to the school for different projects. One of my pet project was called One Bathroom at a Time. So we repaired one bathroom at a time, so they were all repaired on the campus. And we did send. Well, actually, that's not true. Since I've been back, I mostly do money, because I sent money for the team going to pen relays. So that is what I enjoy doing, that more than anything else. I wouldn't mind going to the school, just being at the school and maybe helping with coaching and stuff like that. But I don't live very close to the school. I live in Manchester, so I go and cheer them on, though. I make a lot of noise at the
Yep,
stadium.
you should. You
I
should.
scream and I wear my colors, and it's still very proud of my school. I love my school.
And
Love.
that support, that is
Yeah,
also a part of the support.
yeah.
You're one of the recipients at the award that was held by the Jamaica Olympian Association a few months ago, where we met
hmm
in person. Your thoughts on being recognized for your contribution by your colleagues, your teammates, your
hmm
peers?
it's nice to be remembered because it's such a long time ago, you know. So it's nice to be remembered. It's nice to be appreciated and recognized. And I hope every single athlete gets that opportunity to do that, especially because we did it for the love of the sport. And you know, and the love definitely the love of country. There's nothing like putting on your country colors and stepping out there, especially the Jamaica colors, because even before the Shelly Ann and stuff like that, when we went to meets, people always wanted our uniforms because you get a set of uniforms, and at the end of the whatever meet we went to, you would exchange your uniform with another country uniform, and people always wanted a Jamaica uniform. So, and the Jamaica pins, you know, we always got those little flag pins that you'd exchange with somebody else. And I had a whole bunch of them, and somebody broke in my house and stole all my pins. And they weren't stealing the pins because the pins were in my jewelry box, and they took the jewelry box. So all my pins.
Wow.
That hurts because it only has sentimental value.
Right. The memories.
To me, yeah.
Yeah.
So that I try not to think about it because it can't be replaced. So I just call it a day.
You and other Olympians. I'm not sure if everybody was from the 1972 teams, but you guys were feted by the first lady back then,
Yeah.
Beverly Manley, Mr. Michael Manley. Can you recall that
Oh,
experience?
definitely, because I was such a big fan of Mr. Michael Manley. Mrs.
I
Mrs.
don't
Beverly
know.
Manley.
I don't know any Jamaican woman who wasn't a fan of Mr. Michael Manley because I myself. Anyway, moving right along.
Moving right along. Yeah, she had a luncheon for us, and at one of the lunch, I remember one of the luncheons that we had. He came through. He was walking through, and I was just so starstruck, you know. Yeah, but that was really, really, really nice. There's something that he did, and I'm having a hard time remembering that when he came into power, there are certain places that we couldn't go to as local. Some local Jamaicans we couldn't go to, where they had a send-off party for us at the Olympics. I don't know if Ruth remembers that or anybody remember, but I remember it was in Morgan's Harbor. It was some place like that, and that was the first time that anybody looked like me went there. And because he broke down those barriers, you know, to people like me going certain places, you know, and I will forever be grateful that he did that, and did that very soon after he got into power. So a lot of people, I remember those things so very well. You know, those things were important to me. So I remember that. I don't know if anybody else remembers that.
Wow. Do you think we celebrate our athletes enough as a country?
I think so. I mean, I think, you know, I really do think so. They know you. I remember when I was in Jamaica before I migrated, people on the street would say, "Hi, Debbie," da, 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 you know. So I think so. I think so, and I think so even more now, because more people have television, more people can see people, and they're doing so very well. I have to tell you that I've never met Shelly Ann, but I can't imagine when I get a chance to meet her. I adore her. I am probably her biggest fan in the world. I am just such a big Shelly Ann fan, and that's the person that I would love to meet. But I think that,
And you know, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Which Jamaican athlete that you've never met that you would like to meet?
and my two favorite, Shelly Ann number one, and I love Mr. Bolt. I love Mr. Bolt.
Who doesn't love Mr. Boat?
I love Mr. And you know, I love him on and off the track. Both of them for that. You know, I love his graciousness. I love his manners. I just, he just kudos to his parents. They did a wonderful job with him,
Yeah.
with both of them, and I like that. That those are things that are important to me. How we conduct ourselves, especially
Mm-hmm.
when you have on your colors.
Yes.
You- and both of them, and pretty much all the athletes, behave so well in public and make us proud, very very proud. And I'm happy for them that some of them have made some money. I'm so happy for that.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
no envy here, but
Yeah.
I'm really really happy for that, and I hope it continues. You know.
Indeed, indeed. Hold that thought. Let us just look at some of the comments. Yeah, somebody's trying to guess who your offspring is. Of course, I'm seeing a name that is not the answer. Olympian Ruth is saying she remembers those plaid house dress.
Okay. Yes. Yes. I
Oh
tell her
my
I have a copy of that picture. If she wants it, I can send her a copy of it.
God. Jackie's saying she's at work. Uh Jackie Pusey is also saying true about the uniforms. People wanting
Mm-hmm.
to get your kit and stuff. And Dorothy Scott is saying that happened to me too, Debbie. I really it really really hurts. Jackie is also saying there's nothing like putting on the black, gold, and green
Mm-hmm.
for Jamaica, and I do believe that. I
Yeah, there's
really
a
and
certain
truly.
amount of pride that you get, just donning that uniform. Yep. And
All
and
right.
then the other thing that I'm sure that all the other ladies and gentlemen who ran for Jamaica will tell you, every meet that we went to where you marched into the stadium, the only country that get more cheer than the Jamaica team was the host country. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know, they just love the Jamaica team, and
Mhm.
that also was reason to be full of pride that people love the Jamaica team so much.
Indeed, indeed. Anthony Henry is saying, how much of a role model did you play in Akira's development? I'm not sure if you know who Akira is.
I
Akira,
know I know exactly who she is,
yes,
and she's another one that I'm extremely proud of,
yes.
and I have never had the opportunity to meet her, but I've always big her up on Facebook. I always cheering her on and hoping that she does well. I think she's extremely talented,
Mm-hmm.
and I wish her all the best all the time.
Indeed, indeed. Excelsior all the way. What them
Excel.
call it? The Eagles?
Well, now they're calling it the Eagles. When I was in school, they just call you Aggie. We were
Aggie.
Aggie.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
It's
okay,
it's
okay.
it's after it's like in the seem like the 2000s, late 2000s they started,
Came up with the
because the
Eagles.
eagle is a part of our emblem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yvonne is saying, Yvonne Saunders, she's saying, unfortunately, if you weren't living in Jamaica, you were not really recognized.
Well, I'm going to go a little bit further than that. If you weren't living in Kingston, you were not as recognized back in the day. They really focused a lot on the athletes that lived in Kingston. The athletes who were just as talented who lived in the rural areas, they, they, they didn't get the attention at all until Foggy Burrows. I don't know if you've ever heard of Foggy Burrows. He was very instrumental in doing things like they had these area meets where we'd actually travel from Kingston to different parts of the country and had meets. But they never did that before. And a lot of talent from the rural area ended up making teams and traveling and stuff. I mean, I don't want to call names, but Foggy Bars was was very instrumental in that, and he treated the athletes really well. For the athletes who trained at the stadium, he had the stadium staff cook us some meals, so when after training we would eat. He'd make sure we had a ride home. I remember he took us to, there were a shoe store, and we could pick out any shoe we want. And there we went. I don't know why Vandal come into my memory, and we could pick out shoes, and we picked out clothes. I remember, and that was his doing. That was, he really cared about the athletes, all the athletes.
I'm going to tell you a little secret. Everybody who comes on this show from your era speaks about Foggy Barrows. No joke. Everybody talks about him from your generation. Talk about this person. I don't know who the person is, but I keep hearing the name as if I know him, and it is all good stuff.
And you know what? It's really a small world. When I moved to Florida and I bought a house there, my neighbor, his grandkids lived next door to me. His grandson lived next door to me. So, when they found out that I ran track. By that time, of course, I had retired by then. And they found out that I ran track. And he said, "Do you know Foggy Bars?" I said, "Foggy Bars was like a father to me. It was the best father I had." Yeah.
Wow.
He cared so much.
Yeah.
I wish everybody knew his story, and I wish that his contribution to track and field was recognized, because he did a lot.
When I started hearing about him, and of course it's through Ruth and Yvonne and Vivienne. I don't know if you know Vivienne Morano and all of those people, Miss Vilma. The first question I asked is, how can I contact him? But I heard that, he's no longer with us, because I so wanted him to tell his story. But I'm going to do a research on him.
He was at KC for many years. I have a book here that's actually, it's not my book, it's my husband's book. It's called The History of Track and Field in Jamaica. History of Champs, rather, I'm sorry. It's from 1905.
That's the book by Hubert Lawrence that you
No.
Not that one.
No. It's I have two books. One is The History of Champs from 1905 until 1970, about 1970, and it's an old book, old book. That book was obviously created sometime in the 70s, because it went up to that date. And I also have The History of Manning Cup, which is, they're interesting books. But
I don't know of those books.
Yeah, if you look in The History of Champs, you'll see Foggy's name from in the 40s, from in the late 40s. He was around, and he was very involved in sports and he taught at KC, and then he became involved with the national team. But the short space of time that he was there, he did a lot. I have to tell you that when he got involved, is the first time I ever felt like people cared about the athletes themselves. That was important to me.
You just gave me the chills when you said care about the athletes. You just gave me the chills when you say that, because I think the powers that be need to care more about our athletes. I don't think they care the way they should about our athletes. Dorothy Scott is saying, that was my coach and my second father. He was the best, but never got the credit he deserves. And Jackie said the same thing. Jackie said, that's correct. He didn't get the credit that he deserves. So we are going to give Foggy Barrows some credit, because I keep hearing about this gentleman and the great things and the wonderful things that he
And
has
the
done. So,
amount of time that he sacrificed, he was there all the time,
wow,
I mean, he lived in Caribbean Terrace, and I lived off Red Hills, and he would take me home and then go. Probably, and there would be other people in the car, so he had to take people different places. That little green car did
wow.
some work, and then he would go home.
Wow. Even Lilith Hodges is endorsing what you said. She said, I remember I got a pair of white shoes. White shoes, Lilith?
Yes, yeah,
But you
yeah.
know something? You guys did it. A lot of our athletes, you guys did it without money. How were
Mm.
you able to survive not having any endorsement, financial endorsement? How did you do it? How did Debbie did it?
Well, at the time when I did most of my running, because I started running for Jamaica at such a young age. I was 14, so I was, of course, still living at home. It's not even how I did it; it's how my mother did it. Because every time I had to go somewhere on a trip, you had to get new underwear, new panty and bra,
New
and then
stuff.
yes, and then she would give me pocket money from where I don't know. It's like she pulled it out of the air, because it was so many of us, but it she found it, and made sure I had clean, nice new clothes to carry with me, and always had pocket change to carry with me. And that, like I said before, that's one of the reasons when I went to the United States, I had to go to work because I had to take care of me, And I worked. My very first job was at Bank of America, and I used to get off work. The track that I used to work out closed at a certain time. So by the time I got there, it was at the junior college not far from my house in Oakland. I used to have to climb over the fence, at the high fence, and that's how I got hurt and didn't make the 1980 team because I pulled my groin coming
But
almost
Debbie, you
off
know,
the fence.
easy. A
You have
climb
to do it.
wall.
You have to. It's a wire gate. You climb. You have to climb over it, and
Wow.
if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. You
Indeed.
know. So
Indeed.
yeah.
What a story you
And
have
then
here.
another thing is when I used to go to track meets. By this time, I had my daughter, and I was still running because she was born in '77. I heard somebody say, which is true, when I was running, I would leave her if that was a track meet that then husband wasn't, because he was also a coach. He coached a high school and he coached me. If he had to go some places, I had to take her with me to whatever track meet I was going to, and other athletes would take care of her while I was warming up and running.
Wow.
Yeah.
Takes a village. I like what you just did, because we're now going to segue into who your daughter is. We're just going to do it a little bit because I would love to have an interview with her, but we're just going to touch it a little bit.
Hmm.
You think we should tell them? Yeah, we're going to tell them now. But before we tell them who your daughter is, Jackie Pusey is saying, anything I asked for, he would make it happen. Of course, they're still talking
Talking
about
about,
the
you
Foggy
can't talk enough
Board.
about him. I don't think enough time is spent talking
Yes.
about
And Ruth is
him.
also saying, and don't forget the outfits that mother made us.
Uh, yeah.
Wow.
My
Wow. Wow.
my
Wow.
incredibly wonderful,
Mother.
beautiful, kind, smart. There's not enough adjectives to describe my mother.
Your mother. Wow. Wonderful.
I miss her every day.
Wow. Sandra Lee, welcome. Welcome. All right. Sandra Lee
That's
is
a very
saying,
technical girl.
Sandra Lee is a Veer girl. Man,
Yes.
I tell you, Veer, this program is supported by a lot
Yeah.
of Veer athletes. I can tell you, a lot of them, a
But
lot of
she,
them.
when she left there, and as an adult, she taught at she was at Excelsior, so
Excelsior.
she
Okay.
has
Okay.
ties with both Vera and Excelsior.
Sandra Lee, you like the winners. She's saying that your daughter. Okay, guys, I'm going to tell you who her daughter is. Lilith Hodges is saying, yes, I remembered he took us to Europe on a tour. Man, Foggy Burrows, no, we're going to have to do something
Yeah,
to let
I
the people know who this
urge you to
gentleman
do
is.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
needs some recognition for what he
Yes, and I'm definitely going to give him some. Anthony Henry is saying Very Technical is the best track and field school in Jamaican history, and I would want to
I
agree with
endorse that.
that. And when you look at Very Technical has produced. I'm doing a research right now, and based on my research, Very Technical so far has produced the most Olympians.
Olympians, right?
I'm still working on my list because I have
Mhm.
some missing data, but so far, Very Technical is leading with the most Olympians, and it's mostly women. Can you imagine if they were producing male athletes the way they're producing female athletes? And there's something I want to tell you guys too. Every Olympic team from 1980 has had a very technical standout on it from 1980 to date.
Impressive.
And I can give you the data from my memory. Let me go a little bit further. Every 4x1 female team from 1980 have had a very technical athlete on it, except 2024.
Wow.
And if Sherika wasn't injured, she would have been on that team. That's how outstanding when you look at the data of the different schools and what they have produced. Very Technical is, I don't know if Very Technical really get the recognition that they deserve for what they have produced, but I mean, it is a collective effort by all the schools and stuff. But yes, Very Technical has done a lot. But guys, Debbie Byfield is the mother. Now, if you're not a track and field fan, or if you're not a friend of Debbie's, you won't know this. Her daughter is Kelly White. I
Mhm.
hope Kelly is listening to us.
She's
Uh,
supposed to be.
she's supposed to be watching. Kelly, if you're watching, hi. I've always been a fan of yours, and I did not know that this lady was your mother until the 25th of June when she was receiving her award, and I was in the audience in
Mhm.
June. Debbie Byfield, the mother of an American outstanding sprinter, Kelly White, who won 2 gold medals at the 2003 World
Yes.
Championships. I think that World Championship is
The
three.
4x1. The 4x1.
Yes, and the 4x1.
100, 200, 4x1.
And the 4x1. She won the triple. I think this World Championship was in Paris. No,
It
Debbie.
was. I was there.
Oh, you were. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What is it like? I have to ask you about it, but what is it
Actually-
like being
actually-
Kelly's mom?
She ran the world championship before that. She ran in the world championship before that
2001.
in Canada, in Edmonton, in Alberta,
Yes.
Canada, and that's a track that I ran on.
Before you go further,
Mhm.
Kelly White is on the Hello, Kelly. Let me tell you something. I have to know. You talk about you starstruck. Me starstruck. I have been following her entire career. I was so looking forward to that clash between she and Veronica Campbell Brown at the Athens Olympic Games. That's how much I know about Kelly White. I have been following her. Hello, Kelly. How are you? I didn't even know that Kelly was Jamaican. Kelly, you're Jamaican,
Anybody
you know.
that's running well in the world has a little tip of Jamaican in it.
Every outstanding athlete that you think of in the rest of the world has some Jamaican attachment, some Jamaican blood in them. But back to you, Mom. What was it like being Kelly's mom?
You know, that's when I really started loving track and field, because just the joy of watching her run all the time. I don't think I missed a single meet ever. And, she started running. She have to, Kelly, when did you start running again?
No, I
Before she
want
got
Kelly
to
to
high
come
school,
tell
when
me
she
her
played,
story. We're
was
not
that?
going to
Yeah.
talk about Kelly much in the car. I want Kelly to come tell us her story. But what
Mhm.
was it like being her mom,
I
especially
was,
when
it was nerve wracking, it, especially because I ran. I know all the things that can go wrong. Pick the start, drop the baton, pull a muscle, and so I I was one of those parents when once it started said, get on your marks.
you on your marks too? Okay,
I
okay.
would cover my face, and when I hear the gun go off, then I would look up because she made it out the block. So
Wow.
it was, and then watching her on the world stage, very proud,
College
extremely
and then on
proud.
the world
Yeah,
stage.
yeah. So
Outstanding,
yeah,
outstanding.
she went to the University of Tennessee.
Tennessee, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Did well also.
Yep, yep, yep.
Wow. And you were
I think
there all the way.
oh yes. Hi,
Wow,
baby
wow.
cakes.
What's
And
her nickname?
I have two
Baby what?
grandsons, baby cakes.
Baby cakes. Huh.
I have I have two grandsons.
Wow, you're a grandma.
Oh yes, the
Man,
best, the best, the
Kelly,
best job in the world.
man, I tell you, it is so funny that I've been such a huge fan of Kelly White for so long. And
Hmm.
now tonight we are here. Wow, awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. But just to go back a little bit, mom, you got your heart broken 2004.
Hmm.
2004 when she returned that substance. Of course,
Hmm.
when I, because I was following the case and stuff,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
when I read, it's kind of like meeting in the wrong company kind of thing, because
Hmm.
she was introduced to this thing.
She wasn't aware,
She
but
wasn't
yeah,
aware.
right. So that
She thought that it was supplements because that's what
right.
she was told.
Yeah, and
How did you respond as a mother of this young bright star?
you know, I think that I had to hold my corner in terms of she's an adult. I was there to comfort her when it things turned out the way they did, and I felt really sorry for her because she's very, very, very talented.
Mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm,
know
mm-hmm.
but these things happen, and mainly I just wanted her to get over it and move on with her life. That was
Mm-hmm.
more. I didn't want her to sit and wallow in it, and basically even blame anybody. It happened, and we have us.
But
One of the
but
things I told her.
somebody have to get the blame because it wasn't on her. It was the people who she trusted.
Yeah.
She
And
trusted people.
yep. And I had gone to by the time that Kelly was after she came back from college and she was training in California with that coach, and I'd gone out there and I'd spoken to him and I told him I'd rather she work at McDonald's than do that, and he
Yeah.
promised me that nothing would happen, you know but it ended the way it did. And I it's just an unfortunate situation
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
we had to get over. And
Mm-hmm.
she went on, she got her master's, and
Beautiful.
went on to work and eventually got married, and now she's a mother of two.
And you're a proud grandma. I've been such a huge fan because, as I said before, I was looking forward to that clash between her and Veronica Campbell Brown because, of course, Veronica was hot commodity, and the both
Hmm.
of them coming from college and doing so well,
Yeah.
and the Athens Olympics was coming up just in 2 months, and then that news broke in
Yeah.
June. It shattered, it changed everything, the whole
Yeah.
dynamics.
Yeah, she came after she came back from her ban or 2 year ban. She tried to get back into running, and but she had lost her mojo by then, and she just decided
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
not to pursue it anymore. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, because I think that she would have done great things.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. I
Hmm.
totally agree with you because she was a super talent, you know. She was
Hmm.
a super talent.
Hmm.
Didn't even know that she came from a Jamaican. Did you ever I'm going into that section now, so I'm not going to ask the question yet, but I'm not going to ask anything else about Kelly. Whenever I get Kelly on the show, Kelly and I will talk about things. But before we go further in a section that I like, which is question and answer,
Hmm.
guess who is here? Miss Vilma Charlton,
Hi,
another
Bill.
another Olympian, another Jamaican
You know,
Olympian.
you have. Let me see. There's one person missing from the 4x1 who is on the line. Lilith ran the first leg.
Mhm.
Vilma ran the second leg. Carol Cummins ran the third leg, and I ran the ankle leg. So you have three people
Wow.
probably
So we
sending to
need Carol
Olympic.
Cummins. Oh, wow. Look at legacy.
Yeah.
No, this is what you call legacy. This
Mm-hmm.
is what you call legacy. Wow. Outstanding. Legacy is my favorite word, you know, legacy is my favorite word. And I just love this kind of thing. Miss Vilma is saying, hello, Debbie, welcome in this space. She was the cutest little primary school child going to White Marl Primary.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Wow. I can
And
just
I,
imagine.
she knows that I loved the Campbells, especially Mr. Campbell. Mrs. Campbell was the headmistress, and our husband, Mr. Campbell. I just adore that man. I just thought he was such a nice man. I remember him so well. You know.
Wow, wow. I get very excited about these stories. These are the stories I like to hear, the authentic stories, the friendships that were formed, you know, the whole works. You know, Miss Vilma
Hmm.
is also saying, oh, she said she's presently in a meeting preparing officials for a world athletics examination soon. So but she's still listening to us and she stopped
Okay.
by to say hi. Thank you very much, Auntie Vilma, for stopping by. And Gunner's boss, thank you for being here also. He said good night, ladies, on the panel, and he sent us some love and thingy. So enough on Kelly. Now we're not going to talk about Kelly anymore because I will talk to Kelly when she comes on the show.
Oh, okay.
No, no, I like this part. Question and answer.
Hmm.
Um, did you, as a Jamaican mother, did you ever try to get Kelly to run for Jamaica?
No, actually, there was a time that she suggested that she wanted to try to run for Jamaica. It was up to her, you know.
Okay.
Um, that she did mention to me one time about she tried to run for the Jamaica team. I said, "You can try. It's hard to make the team, but you can try."
But she was good enough. She was good enough to make the team at that time. I mean, she was a triple gold medalist from the
And
year before.
she considered herself Jamaican.
But she is Jamaica. You see why I like Kelly? I know there was a reason why I like this young lady. You know,
I
I
know.
know.
I know I'm gonna embarrass her and tell this little story about her. When we went down to University of Tennessee, when I took her down to school, her first year as a freshman, and set up we set up the dorm, and then I flew back out to California, and then she called me. She says, "Mom, there's another Jamaican girl here." I said, "Really?" I said, "Who is the first one?" She says, "Me." I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't know
I like Kelly. I like Kelly even more now. Kelly, if you're still watching, I like you even
that.
more
That's
now.
trust me. That's my oxtail girl. Belita
What?
oxtail. Woo.
See, she's a real yardie, you know. My next question is, can she speak patois?
She understands it, but she doesn't speak it much.
Okay.
No, no. She understands it though.
She
Anything
understands.
you say,
Okay.
she understands everything that's being said.
So can
But she
she
does.
speak it? Can she say wagwan? Kelly say wagwan. I can't believe that this is happening tonight. I've been following this young lady career so long, boy. I
My
tell you, it's awesome though. It's awesome, Kelly. Of course, you're a Jamaican, Kelly. Jamaican all the way, all
Well,
the
she
way.
spent, she used to come to Jamaica as a baby. And I'll tell you this little story about her. She wouldn't remember it, so I'd have to tell you. She was, she wasn't probably a year or so. So she went out in the yard in Jamaica, and she started crying, and look, she was standing on a barefooted on an ant hill.
Mm-mm. Oh
But
wow.
instead of coming off, she's picking them off. What are you doing? She's picking them up like, get off.
Kelly mom is embarrassing you. I know,
I
girl. I
know,
know.
but she was very young, so she didn't understand.
She
If
didn't
you get
understand.
step off the hill, because she's crying and she's picking them off one at a time. And of course, as soon as she pick one off, another one crawl up and bite her on the
Poor
leg.
baby. At least she get to experience
Oh
life
yeah,
in Jamaica. You
yeah.
made sure that
And
she
she
knew
had
how
a
it
she had
felt.
a grandma that adored her. Oh, that was her favorite little granddaughter there.
Wow, wow, wow. I'm super happy that she's Jamaican. I'm not even going to say half Jamaican, Jamaican.
Yep.
Debbie, when you look at our rich legacy in track and field, what are your overall thoughts about the legacy?
I've spent some time, and as a matter of fact, I've spoken to Vilma about that, and I'm trying to always figure out what it is about Jamaica, why we produce so many great sprinters, male and female. And although I have a degree in physiology, I don't know what it is. If it's something in the water, the food, it might be genetic, But if you look at it, you look at a tiny little country of the little under 3 million people, and when you look at how many medals they win at the Olympics, they're the country that basically is the number one Olympic country. They win
Mm-hmm.
per capita
Mm-hmm.
because they have very much fewer people to choose from than certain other countries, but they bag a lot of medals and a lot of gold
Indeed.
medals too. And I would love for them to do a study to find out exactly what causes that. I don't know.
Indeed.
They just keep coming. They just keep coming one after the other, one after the other,
Mm-hmm.
one after the other.
I'm
Somebody.
wondering if I'm wondering if it's because we run barefooted when we were small. I don't know.
I
It's a
don't think
That's a
so.
good question though. Why? How is it that we run so fast? I
I
don't know.
I, I think it's genetic, and I think I've done my DNA, and I know that there's quite a bit of Nigerian in me, and Ghana is also there,
Yeah,
and you know, I just think that's what it is. Somewhere in there is something that contributed something to the Jamaican talent. You know,
indeed, indeed. Before you go any further, I'm big on nickname, and I love to give trouble. And Auntie Vilma just typed something. Hello, Jackie Packy. Jackie Packy. My next question is, what is your nickname, Debbie?
it's not a
Is
nice
it fit?
nickname.
Is it fit for airplay? If it's not a
Yeah,
nice
no,
name, it's
no, it is. Some when I when I was at Whitemount Primary School, because I traveled with Mrs. Campbell to and from school, I didn't leave the school when other people left to go home because I had to wait for her. As being the headmistress there, she had a lot of things to do. So I would walk down the hill with people who were going to take the bus, and I would hang out with them and play down there until their buses came, and then I would go back up the hill. So one day we were standing down at the bus stop, and there was a man on a donkey cart, and he's coming, this little donkey, and just as he got in front of me, he said, "Ee, Debbie." The donkey named Debbie. So it Debbie Donkey became my name at that school. And then I came, went to, I was so glad to leave that behind when I went to Excelsior. And there was a guy there that went to White Marlin and said, Debbie Donkey. And of course, it started back again.
Listen, the worst thing you can do is let a Jamaican hear somebody call you a nickname. Listen, that is
But
your name forever.
Yeah, but you know something?
Debbie
One of the things I
Donkey.
appreciate about that thing is that nothing was, you weren't calling name to hurt your feelings. It
That's
was
true.
just,
That's true.
It
was
just
out of fun. It
what
was
it
all
is. It
fun.
was love.
Yeah, all fun, all fun and
But
games.
I'll never forget that the donkey cart just, Debbie. So it became Debbie Donkey.
Oh
But
my God.
it's okay.
Debbie Donkey. Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's too funny. You heard that, Kelly? Kelly, mommy's nickname is Debbie Donkey.
I didn't tell her that before.
Oh, you didn't tell her that before. Well, tonight Kelly is learning everything about
As
mom.
long as the grandkids don't know, because I know they'll.
Debbie Donkey. Debbie, which leg is your favorite leg on the 4x1 relay?
I would love to start all the time if I could, and I've never done that.
You've never. That means you're not quick out of the blocks. Are you quick out of the blocks?
I'm okay, but I
I
always
guess
end up,
maybe that is why you didn't start.
I always end up on the ankle leg. But
But you know
all through high
something?
school.
Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, all through high school, and when I ran at the Olympics, I was on the ankle leg. But
Ankle leg.
yeah, but I would love to come out the blocks, get it over with.
Indeed,
So I can watch everybody else run. Yeah.
Indeed. Before, when I was doing my research about, I have a database of all our Olympians, and I was trying to figure out which school they went to and which parish they're from. And your name came up with a lot of parishes. Some people were saying, no, she's from Clarendon. Some people were saying, no, she's from here. So I want you to tell me which parish should claim you as their Olympian.
Kingston.
Kingston.
I never lived anywhere else but Kingston.
People, you hear that? She
this
is
the
a
first time
Kingstonian. Is it Kingston and St. Andrew or just Kingston?
Kingston and St. Andrew. I claim
She
both
is a-
because I was
she
born
is-
in St. Andrew.
All right, you hear that, people? She is a Kingston and St. Andrew Olympian, and that is what I put in my database. And of course, she is a standout from Excelsior High School. So she's Excelsior, and she is a Kingstonian, Kingston and St. Andrew. Which Jamaican athlete made you nervous when you line up with them? Who used to make
Rosie Allwood.
Rosie, where are you?
Yes.
Formerly of Titchfield.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Rosie made you nervous in a race. That means
Yeah.
Rosie good then.
Rosie was fast. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
But other than that, in my era, and then Rosie went off and left me in high school, so I was happy. Bye.
You were the star of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
You were the star of the show. I'm going to pick your memory a little bit. One of your teammates from the 1972 Olympic Games won a bronze medal. I'm going to tell you which event, but you will have to tell me who it was. They won a bronze medal at the 1972 Olympic Games in the 100 meter. Who was it?
Corey.
No.
No, hold on. Let me think.
It's a male though, but it's not
a male.
Donald. Yes, it's a male.
Donald. At the
When you
72
don't help her, you know.
72 Olympics?
72 Olympic Games, the same Olympic Games that you were in. One of your teammates, a male, won a bronze medal in the 100 meters for Jamaica. Who was it? And while you are thinking about that, I'm just going to read a comment from Ms. Vilma. She said, our studies show that 98% of us have the fast twitch the fast twitch muscle and not the slow twitch. That is why we produce mainly sprinters. Wow. Miss Vilma, who did this research? Where can I find it? Wow, she's saying a study, Debbie, Miss Vilma is
Mm-hmm.
saying a study has shown that 98% of us Jamaicans, we have the fast twitch and not the slow twitch, and that is why we produce mainly sprinters. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Patricia Hall is saying it's the hunger for success and our sense of pride that contributed to our athletic prowess. Wow. Auntie Ruth, I tell you not to help her. Auntie Ruth, who was your teammate that won the
I'm
bronze?
I'm trying to think.
Ruth, Ruth put it in the.
Um,
Can you see the comments?
no, I can't.
No? Okay,
No,
I'm giving you one more guess and then I'm going to tell you who it was.
wait. It wasn't.
Is a male and is a
Yeah.
100 meters.
So it would have to be Mike. It was Mike Frey. Mike Frey finished fourth in the 100.
No, not Mike Frey.
And what? Oh, how could I forget? I loved him so much. He passed away. And his daughter ran with Kelly. His daughter also dentist. He went to KC.
Yes, you're
I
very
have a
warm. You
picture with
yes,
him.
yes. Lennox Miller. Yes,
Yes.
Lennox Miller. Yeah,
He was
yeah,
such a fine gentleman.
yeah.
Oh,
The father of Inga Miller.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You
yes.
see, another Jamaican again, you know?
Yeah.
Inga Miller is Jamaican.
Mm-hmm.
No, boy, I tell you, if you look at a lot of people who have competed
Mm-hmm.
outstandingly for other countries, most of them, when you put them together, I have a
Whether especially the British athletes, the Canadian
yes,
athletes.
I have a list, and let me
Mhm.
tell you, I am going to put Kelly on that list now. Now that I know that Kelly is Jamaican,
Yep.
Jamaicans who compete for other countries and have
Right.
done well. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's actually Mr. Lennox Miller. He
Lennox.
won.
I know
Yeah,
it's him. Just
yeah. From you
completely
said
forgot his name.
KC, I know that you know what you're talking
I know
about.
he was
Yeah.
he was a very, very, very nice man. Very
Mhm.
nice man.
Yeah, so he won bronze in the 100 meter in 1972.
Mhm.
So now we're almost wrapping up. So what I'm going to do, I want you to name me your teammates from the 1972 Olympic Games, the Jamaicans, your teammates,
Oh, all of them?
as many as you can.
Okay.
I have the
Let's see.
list right here.
Yeah. Well, of course, there's Lilith and Ruth and Carol, and there were two Yvonnes, Yvonne White and Yvonne Saunders. And I think Yvonne White passed away. If I heard that she passed away.
Okay.
There, Audrey Reed,
Audrey Reed, yeah.
Andrea Bruce.
Yeah. A matter of fact, before you go any further, just to share some more data, Audrey Reed made the high jump final, both her and Andrea Bruce. So Jamaica had two women in the high jump final, and they both jumped 1.88 meters. Outstanding. Outstanding. Continue.
Let me. Oh, Rosie Allwood, of course.
Yes.
I said Carol Cummins already.
Mhm.
I'm in my head. I am going from the room, the little units, the little apartments. Who was in what room?
Fine by me, but you're getting them right. You're doing well.
There were.
Well,
I remember there were a couple swimmers and a diver. I don't remember. I just remember Andrew. I remember the male.
Just give me the track.
the
Just
track-
give me
track
the track
people.
athlete. Yeah,
Okay.
track and field people. Yeah.
Okay, so on the men's side there was Steya.
But you leave out a very important female name. I mean, there are others, but you've called their names on the show.
Marilyn Newville.
No,
No,
not
but she was
Marilyn.
there. She was there, but she wasn't. She was hurt. She was not on the team.
Oh, so she didn't come.
And Vilma.
Yes, Vilma, right?
I thought I said her name already.
There's another one who you mentioned her name also earlier. She's now a doctor.
Andrea Bruce.
Not Andrea Bruce, another doctor. Come from your batch.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's
Dr.
that?
Una Morris.
Oh, you know Mark. Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't run in that. She didn't run in that Olympics, if I remember well. But she was there. I remember her. She was there, and Marilyn Newville was there. Yeah.
Okay, who you have for men now? I think you give me all the women. Yeah, I got all the women. Did you say Ruth?
Ruth, of course.
Okay, good.
Ruth was my roommate when I was in Jamaica.
Oh, Ruth seemed to be everybody's roommate because she was Dorothy's roommate too. I think 1980 or something like that. Something like that. Or maybe it was in college. All right, give me the men now. Who are the
Okay.
men?
Alfred Daly,
Mm-hmm.
Godfrey Murray,
Yeah.
Donald Quarry,
Mm-hmm.
Lennox Miller, of course,
Mm-hmm.
Michael Frey.
Yes.
Um,
You're doing well, man.
yeah. Baron Dice. Baron
Yes.
Dice. Baron
Yes.
Dice.
Mm-hmm.
Was Leighton Priestley on that team? Leighton
Yes. You're
Priestley.
doing well. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I think Horace Levy. Did Horace Levy was on there?
Let me see if I have a. Yes. Well, your memory is
Well, he went
good.
to Excelsior. So. Horace went to Excelsior. So I
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was on that team.
Who else was on that team? I think there was.
There's a gentleman that was on this team. He's now active in track and field in Jamaica.
Who is that?
I'll give you
Oh,
his
I know. Was
I'll give you his nickname, TC.
Oh, how could I forget TC? Yes. TC was TC.
Yeah, Trevor TC Campbell.
Yeah. I would have remembered Trevor eventually.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else was on.
Let me see how many you have given me. 1, 2, just 2 names.
Just 2?
Yes. Just 2 more to go. But you've done well because you've named everybody else. Yeah, the other 2 is Richard Hardware.
Yes, he passed away.
And Kim Rowe.
Kim Rowe?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who was Kim Rowe.
Yeah, there was a Kim
No,
Rowe.
Richard Hardware went to Excelsior also.
Well, hold on. Let me make note of that because I did not have a school for. So you said Levy went to Excelsior?
He's now a doctor too.
Okay, so let me put Excelsior because I'm still collecting my data to end this war about which school produce more.
And
you said Leighton and
Leighton
Levy?
went to KC. Leighton Young went to KC. I mean, not Leighton Young, I'm sorry. Leighton Priestley went to KC.
There's somebody that you said also went to Excelsior. Is it Hardware?
Horace Levy.
Oh, Levy.
Yeah.
He's the only one? Okay.
Horace and Hardware went to Excelsior.
Okay, Hardware, right. Yeah. All right.
Good. Richard Hardware. Yeah. He passed away.
Thanks for helping me with that because I could not find schools for some of these people. But you did very, very well. You named the entire team. And before we go no, your memory is very good. And let us just see what the comments saying. Okay, so I read that one from Auntie Vilma. I read that one from Patricia. Okay, so Auntie Vilma is saying generally we have a go-getting spirit, competition in our DNA. I think so too. That's true. Yvonne is saying Lennox Miller. Auntie Vilma is saying the study was done. Okay, she's saying the study was done by herself and Dr. Rachel Irvin from Jamaica. I need to go and read that. Look at that research and think. Thank you, Auntie Vilma. Yeah, Jamaica Gold Sprinters. Okay, Jamaican Gold Sprinters. I think that is a book. And great job, you guys. Oh my God, you guys are something else. Dorothy is saying, yes, Ruth was my roommate in 1980 and also my college roommate. No, man, Ruth is everybody's roommate. That's good, though. You know what I like about you guys? The friendships that last over the years. As you said, 52 years.
And
You
it
guys,
you know, and we don't. Well, I speak for myself. We don't get to see people very often over the years. There are a lot of, but it. I just pick up right where you left off. I love all the people that I ran with, all the people at the 72 Olympian. There's not one person on the team that, there was a issue or a problem. We got along really well, and we liked being around each other. So it was a pleasant experience. Yeah.
awesome, awesome. When you look back at everything and when you look back at the legacy and you're reminiscing right now about your legacy, how do you feel about it?
Well, I think
It's not teary. You're not getting teary on me, Debbie. It's not cry, cry.
no, no. I just wish I had done more. I just wish I'd worked harder. Sometimes I just don't even think I am deserving of any of the accolades, but because I know myself. I wish I'd worked harder. Yeah. I just went off talent. I mean, if it, I just, so that is where I'm stuck. Even though I don't really like to, I have very few regrets. I get over things pretty easily and move on. But
Mm-hmm.
when I look back at that time, I wish that I'd taken it more seriously and really run harder. I was just so happy not to be at home. That's all that mattered to me when I was running. It's just just as long as I'm not at home.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
Debbie Byfield Russell, is there anything that I did not touch on that you want to share as it relates to your journey and this legacy that you have created, not just for yourself, but also for country, for your family, your daughter, your offspring who came and did the same sport, and of course your grandchildren.
Um, like I keep saying, and I wish I'd trained harder and done better, but there were circumstances that I just can't even get into. That was
And that's fine.
yeah, that was it was home issue, but just surviving that and coming out on the other side, kind of sane,
Girl, you've done well. You've done
you know.
well. You've done brilliantly well.
And
Your
I'm
name
now retired and and just
your
enjoy
name is
life.
written. Your name is written in history. And nothing can erase history.
Right, right.
Your
Yeah,
name
I
is
went
written.
to I went to the campus Excelsior, and in the weight room, my name is up on the wall. I was like, wow,
Beautiful.
I didn't know that they put it up there. So that's nice. It's nice to be recognized,
And
even
that is,
regardless of how I feel about my performance. It's still nice to be recognized.
yes. And that was why and that's what you just said is something that I've been calling for. I think every school in Jamaica should have they should have their outstanding students, especially schools that are into sports. I think that
Mhm.
they should have a space in their school so that children coming in can find a motivation, find something to motivate them, because we've had so many outstanding athletes that have come from, I think, every high school in Jamaica. Maybe not every, but the majority of high school in Jamaica produce even one athlete.
Yeah, I want to mention somebody's name that I've not mentioned, who was instrumental in coaching me. As a matter of fact, that's probably the hardest I worked when he was around. It was Carlton Bradshaw, the actor. You guys know him as the actor. He pushed me a lot when he was coaching at Excelsior for at the time. He was also on that very first team I made to Cuba. when I was 14 years old. That's before he started coaching at Excelsior. But he was very instrumental in getting my head in the right place at times. Yeah, and
Awesome.
I think yeah, I think he's definitely worth remembering and mentioning. He made us work hard,
It
and I
takes a
appreciate.
village. It takes
Hmm.
a village. It takes a
Yeah.
village. It takes a village. So now I'm going to turn the table a little bit, and what I do, I give my guest
Hmm.
an opportunity to interview me, to ask me just one question. So
Yeah.
now, so,
Yeah.
so now you are going to ask me a question. You're going to put me on the spot now because I've been
Okay.
putting you on the spot all night. So
I, actually something that I've been thinking about. Having spoken to you a few times. Did you ever run track, and where did your interest in track and field come from?
very, very good question. I did track at the primary level.
Hmm.
And my interest came in the 80s when I was a little girl. I wasn't a teenager yet, I was a little girl. And even though, because I was discovered during PE. In
Hmm.
Jamaica, every
Hmm.
school do
Yeah.
PE. So I was discovered during PE and sports day. And
Hmm.
then from that, I was discovered for the parish championship. I think at that time they call it the Blue Cross JTA parish championship. So 5 of us from my school was selected to compete for St. Andrew parish in that
Hmm.
competition. But I was awarded a track and field scholarship to go to St. Jago. But
Hmm.
unfortunately, my father said no, so I wasn't able to take up that scholarship. But my real interest came in the 80s when I started to listen to Bobby Frey. I don't know if you know the journalist Bobby Frey.
Hmm. He's Michael Frey's brother.
Right.
I saw him. I saw him at the stadium recent.
He
When
was at the
I
stadium.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, he was there.
Hmm.
And I used to listen to him on the radio when the Jamaicans, you guys would go away and compete, and he would commentate. And
Hmm.
two names I heard when I was a little girl, Jackie Pusey and Merlene Ottey.
Hmm.
And he would constantly talk about those two athletes because of course they were competing for Jamaica, and he was a Jackie Pusey and Merlene, and I was like, wow. And I used to think about it, and I said, I would love to be like these ladies. I would love to become an Olympian one day. And what I used to do, I used to have a notebook. So
Hmm.
each time Bobby Frey would give information about the athletes, I would write it in that book. So
Mm.
that is how I became so knowledgeable about the history of our track and field, because I would listen to Bobby Frey and I would write. It's like you're in a lecture, you're at university and you're in a lecture and you write, you take notes. So I used to have a whole lot of notes on our athletes, and even as far back as Mr. G.C. Foster. I don't know if you
Mm.
know about Mr. G.C. Foster, who
I do.
yes, and
Hmm.
he wanted to compete at the Olympic Games for Jamaica, but of course, Jamaica wasn't a member of the IOC yet, so he did not get an opportunity. And I started studying the history.
Mm.
I started studying the history. So I used to do the sport, and even sometimes now I think about it when I talk to you guys. I said, I wonder what my story would have been like as an
Mhm.
athlete.
So
So,
can I ask you, do you know
sure.
why your father didn't want you to go to San Diego?
He
Is it the school that he didn't want you to go to, or is it he didn't want you to run track?
No, what happened is that my mother gave my sister and I to him when we were babies.
Hmm.
So I was maybe about 1 or 2. My sister was 1 because we're a year apart. So my mother took us to him one Sunday and just left us with him.
Mm.
So I've always said that my mother gave me away. My friends would say not to say that because I was living with my father, but she did not come back for 20 odd years. So technically she gave us away. So and this was like in the 80s, and I think a father raising two girls. I
Mm-hmm.
think the only thing that was on his mind is not having his children get pregnant early. I think as a father in those days, not having a mother, and he was raising us. Of course, my grandmother was there. So St. Jago is in Spanish Town. I was
Right.
living in Upper St. Andrew, which is Stirling Castle.
Right.
So he was saying, how are you going to get to school Monday to Fridays from St. Andrew to
Mm-hmm.
Spanish Town? And of course, my coach at the time explained that I would be boarding, and he said no.
Mm.
So that was the end of my track and field dream. And of course, I
Mm-hmm.
ended up at a school that did not have a program. But of course, I still followed the sport. I would support champs, boys and girls champs, they were separate. I would support them. And, the passion I just kept going, with the love for the sport, learning about the sport, learning about the different athletes. I know about the athletes and stuff. So it it just continued in another way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is unfortunate that you
Hmm.
didn't get a chance to do it. I remember when I first went to Excelsior, there was a young lady by the name of Sonia Barnett. Oh, she could
That name sounds
run.
familiar.
She was so fast. I mean, and she came out the first couple years, and then she said, you know what she said? She said she didn't want to run anymore because she never wanted her foot to get tough.
I've heard that. I've heard girls say that they don't want to
I
get
am
tough
so
and
glad
yeah.
that women are over that kind of foolishness because
Yeah.
I don't think you'd ever hear any girl saying that today, you know.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
But she could have been. I remember her very very well. She could have been a Olympian, like myself. She was
Mhm.
fast. She said she just one day she just decided she's not coming back out there anymore because she don't want
She
her
never
foot.
had any motivation. The fire within her wasn't enough to push her. And this is why I've always called for parents to support their children's dream, because you just never know where it will take them, or how it will affect
Yeah.
them. Because when I did not get to do that, I mean, I became rebellious
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to run. I wanted, and then, the people that I used to compete with, they were all over the country. I mean, one of my main rivals, she got a scholarship to Veer. So she
Mm-hmm.
went to Veer Technical. Others went to St. Jago, went to other schools, and I was out of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I became sad. Of course, I was a teenager. I wasn't sure how to navigate my emotions. So I wasn't happy that I wasn't being a part of that, but I would still go and support my friends who I used to run with. I support them at running for their different schools and stuff. But I think parents should support their kids' dream,
Oh, my
and you don't
mother.
have to
Yeah,
allow them to do everything. But
my mother was she was extremely supportive. Like I said, you know, I started running for Jamaica when I was 14 years old, and we went to different places, and she always made sure that you know what she used to do. I have to tell you this. Sometimes when I had a track meet, she would mix me up this concoction of
what?
salt with an egg.
I remember the egg. Yeah, I remember the egg thing.
And she
Yeah.
would give me that to drink before I went to the
Make you
stadium.
run fast.
I remember I was drunk now.
Wow.
I,
Wow.
yeah, but she would do anything that she could do. We didn't have a lot of money, but whatever she could do
Mm.
to support me. And I remember when I used to train, I used to come home late in the evening, and I had a problem. I had a problem with a tooth, and my mother would I mean, she used to take the Fenzik, and she'd take a little piece of cotton and she'd stick it in there, and then she'd put my head on her lap till I went to sleep. She would sit on the bed.
Awesome,
Yeah,
awesome,
you know,
awesome,
she
awesome,
was an amazing human being.
awesome.
Ruth,
And that,
Ruth, Ruth knows her very well, and Ruth can tell you that she was, she had a very tough life, but she was amazing.
and you see, this is what I like about you guys and your generation. You guys, even though you were teammates and you guys competed against each other in high school and in college, but when you came together as Jamaica, you guys were forever. And
Mhm.
look at you guys now, 52 years after, you guys are still sharing the memories that you created
And
competing
you know
for
the thing about
country.
it is too, because I was listening to Yvonne Saunders, and actually while we were running, there are things about her that I didn't know, and situations that she talked about that I didn't know. So so everybody have their own perspective on things,
Everybody have their
and
story.
their own story. Because even if you were to talk to somebody about what it was like when we were in Munich, mine was completely different. And even my teammates didn't know that every day I would go to the where the journalists were, where they congregated, and I would just hang out there, and I would pay very close attention to what was going on. Like I said before, I didn't internalize what was going on. Mainly because it probably wasn't happening to us. If
It
it was
wasn't so
that,
close.
yeah,
It wasn't
it
so close
wasn't.
to home.
So, but I was always interested in it. For one thing, I I write. I'm a closet writer, and I would have loved to have been a sports writer and write about stuff like that when it was happening. And I was very impressed with
But you
the
can
people
still do
running.
that, you know.
Sure, I
You
mean,
can
you're
you
never
can
too
still do
old.
that.
Hmm.
I mean, you can
I
still do
toy
that.
with the
I'll
idea.
publish them on my website for you. You can write for my website.
No,
But before
I
we go
mean,
before we go
you,
any further,
mhm.
Kalia King is saying, loving this. Thank you very much. Patricia Hall is saying, regardless of
Kalia,
the
oh my God.
regardless of the outcome, you did your best. You did the best you could with what you had. I am so grateful to have virtually met you here. Thank you for doing this work. You are welcome, Patricia. And of course, Patricia will be on next week. Thank you very
Mhm.
much for that, Patricia. Jackie Pusey is here. Says Debbie Draw Jackie. It's Debbie
Mhm.
Draw Jackie. You know how long Jackie's supposed to be on the show, and Jackie, because of
Really?
work. Yes, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you draw out Jackie tonight. Jackie said my mom made me the egg white and orange juice drink every morning. I didn't take vitamins. See, that's the real deal right there.
Yeah, yeah.
No need for pills. Unseen TV, welcome. Thank you very much. He said love and respect to everyone in the chat. Thank you very much. Yvonne is saying you have made it possible for these memories, HP. Thank you. Thank
Hmm.
you guys for trusting me to do this with you. It is, I look forward to it. It is my therapy. It is my therapy.
Hmm.
I look forward to it. There is Regina Montague now.
Oh, wow.
Regina Montague just joined us, Debbie.
Hi,
Outstanding.
Regina. I don't know. Does she remember me?
Yeah, she does. She remember
Okay.
you. She remember you. Yep, she does. She said, "Of
Is
course
that
I know Debbie."
I have not seen her in boot
Yep,
so long. Because the
outstanding.
things that I left Jamaica right after I came back from the Olympics. I left Jamaica and went to New York, but I didn't stay there very long because I didn't like New York. It was too cold. But so, and I came back over the years, but I never really came back at a time when there was any track event happening. As a matter of fact, from I left in 1972, the next time I saw a track event in Jamaica was in 2002 at the World
The
Junior
word junior.
Championship. That's the first time I saw Bolt running, and I was like, "This guy's amazing. He's gonna be great."
Wow,
But that's
wow.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I'm glad to be
Regina
back.
is saying, Hi, Debbie. Yes, I remember you very well. I mean, you guys were teammates at the 1972 Carifta Games, bringing
Oh,
home
I
silver
remember. I
and bronze
remember. Yeah, I
for
don't. I didn't
Jamaica.
remember that. I didn't remember that she beat me.
No,
That,
you finish ahead of her. You got silver, she got bronze.
Lorna Ford won
Yeah,
from
well,
Barbados.
that race,
Thing.
the 100-meter was won by Jackie. You and Jackie won. Hold on, let me go back to my thing and look just to
I
make
think
sure.
Lorna
No,
Ford won.
Lilith. You and Lilith ran Quinella in the
Mhm.
100-meter. Lilith won the 100. You won the silver
I,
medal. In the
I,
200 meters,
I see
you got the
you're
silver.
into horse racing. So am I.
Yep. Yeah,
I used to go to the track every Saturday.
the Quinella. Look here, you
In
guys.
California, I went to the racetrack every Saturday.
You guys are awesome. But Regina is outstanding, man. Teachfield High School, and then
Yeah.
she became an outstanding track and field coach at the Dintil Technical High School, where
Oh,
she
okay.
where she threatened Veer's dominance, Veer technical dominance. So yep, you guys have done so much for the sport. You have no idea what you have done, and it is amazing. It is amazing. And I came up with this platform to thank you guys, to say
It's a great
thanks.
idea. It's a
To,
great idea.
yeah,
You
that
know.
was why I came up with the idea to say thanks to you guys for doing this, for Jamaica, so that people like me, us fans, we can sit down and talk about our legacy and talk about you guys. I mean, I went to the World Championship in Eugene, and
Hmm.
I went there with 3 Jamaican flag. I made a dress out of one and I had two. And everywhere I turned, foreigners were asking me if they can get one of the Jamaican flag because they don't have anything Jamaican. And I just gave it to them.
Hmm.
And there were some people I was sitting with, some Caucasian people, and they said to me, they whispered to me, they were Americans, and they whispered to me and they said, we are here to see the Jamaica clean sweep with Elaine, Sharika, and Shelly
Hmm.
2022. Yes, that was what they said. They said, we are here, but we're here to see the Jamaica clean sweep again, because the Jamaican women started making a habit of sweeping the 100.
Hmm.
2008, 2021, and then they did it 2022. So we have a big thing. We have a rich history in track and field, as one of the smallest country, and we are number 2. It is only the United States that is ahead of us in track and field, and we mainly
Not per
compete
capita,
in the
but
sprint. Yeah, and
not per capita.
we mainly compete in the sprints.
Hmm.
Can you imagine if we were in the middle and long distance? I mean, we're getting in the field now, but can you imagine if we were more widespread?
Yep.
Remarkable, 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 but remarkable. But guys, thank you very much for tuning in, Debbie Byfield Russell. And for those of you who wasn't here earlier when I revealed who her daughter is the great Kelly White, an American sprinter, Kelly White. And if you're following track and field, you would know that name. You would know that name. An American sprinter who won triple gold at the 2003 Olympic Games for the United
World
States.
Championship.
World Championship,
Yeah.
sorry. Yes,
Mhm.
thank you very much. Triple
Yeah.
gold at the World Championship 2003 in Paris. Another Jamaican. Yes. Kelly like when I call her Jamaican. So, yeah.
She does.
Yes, another Jamaican competing for the United States. So thank you guys for being here. Regina, thank you for turning out all the athletes. Let me tell you, the athletes know when to turn out. And Jackie, Miss Jackie Pusey, thank you for turning out. And let me know, Jackie, when you are ready to be in the chair, the live chair, because I've done an interview with Jackie already, but everybody asking me for her in the live chair, and we need her in the live chair. A matter of fact, I'm going to say this, Jackie. I met some of your family when I was in Jamaica for the Olympics watch party coverage. A matter of fact, one of your niece or your cousin, she was a part of my production team. Her name is Victoria. What's Victoria's last name? Oh my gosh. Anyway, they are Pusey. Her parents are Pusey. You know who they are. I think they're from Haverdale. And they told me that you are their family. So big up yourself, Jackie, and please let me know when it's your time to be in the live cheer. Regina, thanks for coming out. Unseen, everybody. Debbie.
Oh, thank
Debbie.
you so much. Before you get a chance, I really appreciated this opportunity, and I'm so glad to see Yvonne's face when I looked at her. Oh my God, I could walk past Yvonne on the street and not recognize her. She probably do the same thing to me and not recognize me. But it's so good to hear these names and see some of these faces, in your program. And I think what you're doing is an excellent thing that you're doing, and I appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much. And thank you guys for, thank you for making the time out to spend time with me. And I'm going to tell you what I tell everybody else. Once I meet you guys, on a stuck with me. Everybody can tell you. Yes, everybody can tell you. I keep
I'll
in
be
touch.
tuning in.
Yes, I keep in touch. I keep in touch. So you won't get rid of me that easily. They can tell you. Ruth can tell you. Miss Vilma can tell you. All of them can tell you. Even Jackie. Sometimes I terrorize Jackie so much. But I just love my athletes, and I appreciate you guys. I appreciate what you guys have done. You guys did it. When I look at what you guys have done, I could not have done it, and you guys did it. I am proud. I feel as if I am a part of it. I feel as if I'm a part of it. Sandra Lee, thank you for being here. All right. Jackie's saying, I'm big on nickname, Jackie's saying, great job, Dibby. Dibby, great
Dibby, who is that?
That's you. That would be you, Dibby.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Heather, Victoria. Yeah, she was a part of my production for the Olympic coverage, and she did an awesome job. Awesome job. She's a student at the University of the West Indies doing media and all those fancy things, and she came on board and she did an awesome job. So great things going on for the Pusey family. Thank you for the support. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, Jackie's saying it's a typo. She meant to say Debbie, because I just love nickname, So when I see something, I run with it. But Debbie, thank you very much.
You're
and
most welcome.
Kelly,
My
Kelly. Hi, Kelly. Let us talk, Kelly. But guys, thank you very much for being here wherever you are around the world watching. Thank you very much, showing some love to the Jamaican athletes, the people who have created this legacy that we're so proud of, people cheering for Jamaica wherever they compete. It is because of these people. It is because of people like Debbie Byfield, what they have done for us. See, cousin Kelly said we will talk. Okay, Kelly. Kelly said we will talk. I love that. All right, Kelly, wagwan, Kelly. But guys, thank you very much and good night. And guys, have a great weekend.
Night. Thank you very much.
Have a great weekend, and
Everybody
we will
be safe.
Yes, and we will be back here.
And my sign off is always be safe and be kind to each other.
Be safe and be kind. I love that very much. And join us next week when we will do it all over again with Patricia Hall, who was with us tonight. She will be with us next week, Thursday night. Guys, have a great weekend. And in a world where you can be anything, be kind. Have a good night.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We're running it all the way, we're in the lead. we're running it. Finish line is all I see. Get up on, no, don't stop. Future bright, the vibes nice, oh gosh. No time for slow down, just sprint, can't lapse. We walk the talk, the socks, my boat tracks. So come through, let's talk about it. What you say? Your girl HP is on her mark, so get set ready.
On your mark, set, go.
Oh yeah, make we chat about it.
What if I said?
Make we chat about it.
Or on left,
Make we chat about it.
check and feel at the topic.
Oh, make we chat about it.
Latest
Make we
news,
chat about it.
all your
Make we
views.
chat about it.
Track and feel chat for set. With the girl HP.